Tanglewod Riding Center has been gaining popularity as a lesson and boarding stable over the 50-plus years it's been running. Ellen Stanton has been riding even longer than the time she's owned the stable.
I've been riding, about 72 years, and started when I was just 8 years old, hanging onto the mane like every other little beginner and scared but loving it. And my mom tells me that even when I was 2 or so, and I'm old enough to remember the rag man when he came down the streets during the Depression. He had an old white horse hooked to a buggy, and he would yell, "Rags, rags," and the people would bring out to the side of the side of the road. They'd bring old pieces of sheets or old sheets and old newspapers, and he took all those things. But she said if she didn't really watch me, I'd follow that rag man's horse all the way around the block. So I can't remember when horses weren't my just driving desire. We bought the farm in 1958, and at that time we had a couple horses we were boarding already, and a few of our own. And so it just was built up little by little. We'd borrow money and build a barn and pay it back, and then have a waiting list, so we'd borrow money, build another barn, pay it back, and we've done that 4 or 5 times. And then we built the riding hall in 1970, but it's paid off, and we added on to that riding hall. Since then we've built even another riding hall, and the riding hall originally was 60 by 120, and then we added another 80 feet, so now it's 60 by 200. My husband starts in the morning at 5:30, and he cleans stalls for 2 hours, and he'll be 84 this December. He also has a business where he sells bag shavings from out of Canada. I start my feeding at 7:20. It takes about an hour and a half to get all the morning chores done. I have a help that comes in about 7:30 to help me with the haying. And then the rest of the barn crew comes in at 7:30.
We have to come in and clean stalls. We have 65 horses, so we're usually done cleaning stalls about 9:30. And then I start turnout. And usually on any given day I have about 17 horses I have to turn out, which is recess for the horses. That gets them out of their stall, lets them stretch their legs, and have a little bit of social time with the other horses. I have some horses that don't like to be out for longer than 15 minutes. And then I have other horses that I have a hard time catching after an hour and a half. It all depends. But usually the front group gets about a half hour, and the back gets about an hour.
We board horses, but we also have a training barn, and we also have lessons. Everything is based on the dressage seat here in the style. And dressage is a series of teaching a horse and a rider to be harmonious in their reactions to each other. And from this, because it's a balance seat, you can adapt it to any other seat.
My name is Tessa. I work at Tanglewood Stables, and I teach private and semi-private beginner lessons. I first off teach my students how to take care of their horses, which means I teach them how to brush their horses to start off with a curry comb and a hard brush. Then I teach them how to tack up, which means I teach them how to get their saddles on and their bridles on. Next, we bring the horses out into the arena, and I teach them how to ride. I teach them how to do like the basic stuff, how to sit up, put their heels down, keep their hands down, how to control the horse. And then the next thing we move on to is how to trot. And while we're trotting, they have to learn how to post, which means they have to learn how to stand up and down. And once they learn how to do all that, they go on to Mrs. Statton's group lessons.
Like my husband says now, owning and running a stable is we've created a monster here. It's huge. Making ends meet is one of the difficulties at times, but there are lots of bonuses and pluses, and a beautiful day and a trail ride, and little things that slip in every day that make it a fun job. I keep thinking back if I was 18 years old and someone said, "Here's a piece of paper, put on your wildest wishes," I would never have thought of an indoor riding hall and horses of my own, and a job that I love to do every day and teach people to love it like I do.